Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. As Ramadan approaches, we as believers strive our level best to maximize our acts of worship, increase the count of supplications than we did earlier in other months. And we are hell-bent on to complete the recitation of whole Quran once, twice, sometimes thrice, and so on. Unfortunately, we are not assured of its acceptance. We don't know whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it wholeheartedly or He will reject it flatly. It all depends upon many factors. But there is another part of our belief system which is more important than these practices and is less likely to be rejected flatly by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And its fruits will be manifested and reflected in this world also. That's the value system. And values are given much importance in Islam. Might be more than the practices. I'm not saying practices are less important. Practices are important and we know it. But Islam is not mere practices and Islam is not mere values. And Islam is an integration of the both. But to complete disappointment, this part is turned a blind eye to most of the times. There are plethora of hadiths, innumerous hadiths, which convey the prominence of value system. Abu Umam al-Bahili rahimahullah reports and quotes Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, and the hadith goes on and with the sentence, "Ana za'imun bi baytin fi rabal al-jannah," and it ends with the sentence, "Wa bi baytin fi ala al-jannati liman hasuna khuluqu." I guarantee a house for a person in the uppermost whose character is good, whose character is sublime in the uppermost part of the paradise. And Jabir radiallahu anhu reports, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I'd like to hold a person so close to me during the day of judgment whose character is enigmatic and whose character is so good." And there is yet another important hadith which is related to Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, in which Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Ma min amalin yulahu fi mizan al-mu'min yawm al-qiyamati athqal min husn al-khuluq." And it's very important, its meaning is really important, which says that there isn't any virtue heavier in the scales of a believer during the day of judgment than good character. And there are many other hadiths, just like the hadith reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, in which Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, "An akthar ma yudkhilu an-nas al-jannah?" فَقَالَ تَقْوَى اللَّهِ وَحُسْنُ الْخُلُقِ. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, which is that virtue that makes a man enter heaven the most? And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded saying, تَقْوَى اللَّهِ وَحُسْنُ الْخُلُقِ, which means good consciousness and good character. So yes, there are plethora of these hosts of hadiths which convey the importance of the value system. Suppose if someone asks us who is a good Muslim, what will be our answer? Most of the time, we will respond like a person who prays 5 times in congregation, and a person who prays tahajjud, and a person who reads Quran constantly, or a person who does supplication profusely. Very less we will respond like a person who is compassionate to his companions, a person who is merciful to his fellow beings, a person who is so good to his kids, family, parents and friends. Why? Because we have confused the very essence of our religion, the very essence of our belief system. For me, I don't see real Islam in a person who prays 5 times in congregation and prays tahajjud, and his character is so rude to his kids, parents, family and friends. And I don't see real Islam in a person whose financial transactions are not honest, but he spends lakhs and words of money for charity. I don't see real Islam in a person who builds houses and apartments for poor people as charity, but his near and dear ones and his relatives are starving out of poverty. It's not the real essence of Islam. So my message to me and to you, dears, is as any Ramadan approaches, Our resolutions must be just like we make resolutions on the eve of a new year, must be to cultivate a new habit and to delete a bad habit. For example, if I am a person who loses temper, if anything goes unexpected, my resolution must be, with the advent of this Ramadan, inshallah, God willing, I'll try to contain myself. And we know the ayah verse which goes like وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ عِدَّةً لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, which means do quicken your pace to heaven, which is prepared for God conscious people, pious people. And in the definition of the pious people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ. That means a person who contains himself, who controls his anger when he loses his temper, when something goes awry or when something goes awkward or unexpected. As this Ramadan elapses, my resolution must be to contain myself when things go unexpected. We must try to add on noble value to our belief system and to delete a bad habit from our character. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us to be a better Muslim, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us survive this pandemic. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Usikum bid du'a. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.